TFDD Whiskey here. So we are doing our first debut video. Now, first thing I want to do is explain how this channel is even started. How we went from Double B to where we are now.
It was Drunk Brain and Drunk Johnny who decided one day that, hey, let's just start a TikTok. Do some ways and maybe we'll go live and start hanging out and chat with people.
Me and Tashar could both agree that watching you guys on TikTok, and not only just clips you guys do, but going in on your lives, and we kind of knew y'all were pretty damn entertaining. Not only were y'all entertaining, but y'all were not the normal demographic, you know, the old, you know, you're young, you bring something new to the table. Me and Tashar were, you know, every so often poking and prodding y'all to start a YouTube channel doing this. What we're going to start doing in this video is talk about briefly who we are, and then we're going to go and kind of talk about how we got into whiskey and some influential bottles that kind of got us there. Let's start with Tashar.
Now I've been drinking whiskey for a very long time. Well, I would say at least now 14 years plus. But that was maybe with either shots or mixed drinks or just whatever the cheapest whiskey without actually being drinking whiskey that the way I'm drinking right now. That started 5 to 6 years ago. I think 2019 was the year where I just randomly bought some bottles. I'm like, okay, I was into scotch. And bought some bottles, started watching YouTube, followed some people, and from there it just grew and grew. Then got more into bourbon, and that's how I met all three of these weirdos that are here right now. And yeah.
That kind of showed your age. You said 14 years you've been drinking for.
Yeah, I've always loved whiskey, like better than any other rum or vodka, but when you're younger, you just want to get a little drunk. But here I am after the burning, still drinking neat whiskey. I don't even know how old you are. I'm just over, I don't know, 30, maybe less than 40, in that range.
Well, I'm Max. Kind of started with, you know, 2019. I haven't been drinking for that long like Tashar here. That's 14 years is crazy work. But I think 2019, so 6 years ago, I started with cocktails. I tried getting into the buying all these mixers and doing all these different drinks, and I just gave up on it because it was too much money. So I tried getting into whiskey, didn't work out with a few bottles I did have. I really didn't know what to buy. It makes sense, you know, I did so much things by going on YouTube and searching how to do it. I built a fence that way, but I didn't do that with bourbon. I just skipped that. I just didn't even go on YouTube. So that's a big mistake. But I basically started drinking maybe late 2022, you know, something like that is when I really started getting into bourbon.
I'm Johnny. I would say I've been in bourbon now 2-3 years. I was literally watching like YouTube, reading stuff on Reddit, and I was like, man, this bourbon stuff seems pretty cool. I went to a Total Wine and just started looking, and they had a store pick of a Russell's Reserve, and I bought it not knowing jack. And I brought it home, poured it in a red Solo cup, and tasted it, and it felt like I was drinking gasoline. And I was like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. And then I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit, and then I tried it again, and I was like, hey, this isn't that bad. Yeah, ever since it kind of started spiraling.
All right, I'm Braden, normally from Double B. Where I kind of came from on the TikTok side. That kind of what got me sort of into bourbon, besides just friends that, you know, I started going to my local store, and, you know, we'd pick up a couple bottles and thought, you know, we'd get some good stuff, like Johnny's saying, some random store pick. I will say I'm an experienced drinker. I've been going at it for a few years, just drinking in general, you know. Bourbon wise, you're probably just looking at a couple years. You know, I was low key just buying what I thought was good at the time, and then once I got up with Johnny and he started letting me experience other things that I didn't even know were a thing, then the tables turned, and now I am where I am now with bourbon.
So we're gonna, I guess, go now and kind of talk about the bottles of the most influential things that got you hooked early on.
But some of the bottles that really helped me change the way I started drinking and helped me. The first one, and it's no particular order, there's no like a sequence, or currently I'm drinking, and it's by no means a very
available cheap or a on-the-shelf bottle, but I had to pick up something that I could talk about and why I liked it. And this isn't Cold Fit's 9 years. This is their decanter series. This is their wheated Nashville bourbon from Heaven Hill, which for a really long time when I was really new into bourbon world, like I didn't know that they even had it. So when I saw my first decanter up on Facebook, somebody had gotten, I was like, that looks so pretty. The bottle is so pretty. I didn't know what the juice is, how it tastes, what the proof is, what the max is. It was just the bottle. I just wanted a decanter bottle. And I remember getting 3 of them in 1 month from the same guy, doing some trades because I spent money and wanted it and didn't open it. They were 8, 9, and 10. So I was just happy to have them. Didn't want to open them, just want to collect them. And once I start opening them, having and sharing with them, and especially this one, the reason I'm talking about this one is this is the newest batch. But it brought me back to that wheated Heaven Hill train. And I thought at one point I was just collecting this to have it. I wasn't actually sure do I like it, but when I opened it up in a bottle share we had 4, everybody was surprised how good it was for what it is. It's not the best out there. It's not incredibly, don't chase it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying if you were able to try it at a bar or you had it for the price point it was a decent pour. 9 years wheated bourbon from a very big distillery. And I was like, okay, yeah, they do make good stuff. Like, there is good stuff. So that's what I have in my glass right now. And it's delicious.
So I was going to go with what I talked about last time with y'all with the 1792. Because it's like literally the first bottle that got me into bourbon. But I don't think it would have took off to the magnitude it did until I tasted, not specifically this bottle because I don't have that bottle anymore, it's gone. But this brand, Blue Run, came out with a high rye bourbon that was at a higher proof. You have your first pour of something that's maybe like above 105, like with that proof that doesn't come out like and like hit you hard, like just, bro, it blew my mind to what flavors can be in whiskey in general. So that's the first one I'm going to talk about. It was also the first big purchase I ever made. $80 was like, it took a lot of convincing for me to do. But
I'm going to shift gears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go kind of in a different direction than both of you. So after I had been in bourbon, for a little bit, I had tried Weller Special Reserve, Eagle Rare. Like whenever I first got into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get, a Weller Antique 107. That was the bottle that I just couldn't wait to get, and I got one. Paid secondary for it. I brought it home. I go to crack it, and the cork breaks. And I'm like, I was like, okay, no big deal. So I get the cork out. I put it in a different bottle. I tried it, and it had some bite to it. And I was like, oh, like this, give me Special Reserve, give me Eagle Rare, give me whatever. And the more I kept trying it, and I couldn't get behind it. This was pretty early on, and maybe it was 107 proof was just my limit at the time. Anything more than 100, like you said, Max, gasoline. That was kind of one of my first I had to have it. Tried it, was kind of let down. But now I love 107. I don't know if I'd say it's one of my top, nowhere near one of my top 5 bottles, but as an everyday pour, I love 107. It's great.
Mm-hmm. I feel I don't know if I'm also guilty, and I know Tashara said to me before he's guilty of it. I don't know about Braden, because Braden's very disciplined when it comes to bourbon spending, but did I make a mistake on buying Special Reserve Weller, Taylor Bald and Bond online? I thought I was getting a good deal because you can't find it, and I'm like, oh my god, this might be a good deal. I pulled the trigger on these things and spent way too much on them because I had major FOMO on them. I don't know about you, Braden. Did you have major FOMO starting out with Buffalo Trace stuff or not?
I mean, I did, but only being an hour and a half from Buffalo Trace, it wasn't I can go down there, and that's when they still had the 90-day jail, right? They don't do the jail thing anymore. Down there, you didn't know what you were getting. So you were just surprised to get an Eagle Rare or stuff like that, and you're getting a decent price. Before that, dude, I didn't know there was a secondary. like I did when you go to certain stores, like, well,
Yeah.
I know that price. This store don't, like Buffalo Trace ain't still Eagle Rare for that.
Yeah.
And so obviously there's a markup, and that I didn't know, because that's how new I was in the bourbon. Like, if it wasn't at the store, then I guess it wasn't around. You know what I mean? Like, it's just they didn't have it; it was sold out. And no, it's because it's so allocated that these stores aren't getting it.
Bro, I'm the direct opposite. I knew like secondary existed and I was willing to pay it. I never knew the distillery released it. I didn't know anything about that back then.
I'm a mix of both of you. Like, I didn't know there was like a secondary on Facebook. I just know that some stores that didn't set mark it up. So if you find a Blanton that was $200, and I wanted a Blanton because you're new to it. Everybody said it's the bottle, it's the hot stop, it's Buffalo Trace. And as Red, and one time coming back from a trip from Barstown, we decided to go to Buffalo Trace. And I have no idea they release anything. I just booked a tour, did a tour. After the tour, they do a tasting and they put lanterns. I'm like, okay, I get to try it. That's fine. And for our surprise, the tour guide said also, like, these are available for you to purchase. And I was so excited, like, I'm getting lanterns. Like, oh my God, lanterns. It was $69, I think, at that point. And I remember I told my wife that it would be one each, so you have to get one and I have to get one. And she was so like nervous because she thought like a $300, $400 bottle. I don't know how much they'll charge because it's Blanton. I said, this is a distillery. They will not overcharge. It should be $70. So that's what like, and then after all of that, getting into it and then talking to more folks in bourbon, got to know that there is a secondary world and how that changed the other trajectory of my bourbon journey.
Yep, you got your first hit. That's my first hit too. I was like, bro, you can get it from the distillery and we gotta wait in line. Sign me up. I need that.
I will say one of my like first like dopamine rushes was I went to a CVS like 15 minutes from my house, 10 minutes from my house, and I was going in there to get formula for my daughter. I walk in and I was like, I walked down the bourbon aisle and they had 2 Eagle Rares sitting on the shelf for like $44.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I grabbed both of them, brought them home, and I was like, oh my God, like I just got Eagle Rare sitting on the shelf.
Hit the lottery.
I was like, yeah, this is crazy. And then this is kind of embarrassing, but one way I like knew a secondary existed is one of my good buddies invited me to a raffle group. And
there
so
you go.
like I would base prices of bottles off like, there's 10 spots on this game. They're charging $13 a head. It's a $130 bottle. If I can find it for anything less than that, I gotta get it. And like, bro, it was so bad. But then again, like, it's crazy. It is.
And
wild.
for anyone listening who doesn't understand the secondary and raffle, we will talk about it at some point on those things too. Just don't want to put everything in this particular conversation.
See, I didn't know anything about Facebook pages, games. I knew not like the raffles. I didn't know. All I knew that these stores would have a raffle. Like there wasn't an online raffle. And that's when I met Johnny a year ago when we really started hitting hard. And he introduced me to some of these groups. I'm like, dude. And that's where it kind of changed a little bit of my game on the bourbon world. But you can't play that game all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You win some, you lose some, and I wasn't taking my chances any longer on certain things. So, I was thinking about it. It's hard to remember. And, I tried to quit drinking beer all the time. I was like, I'll start drinking bourbon or, whiskey and slow down drinking. I'll just cook a pour or two a night and, be happy. I was buying handles of Evan Williams Black Label. I was mixing it. Coke Zero, actually. And dude, I liked it. I liked the flavor of it, everything. And that's when I started getting into talking to my buddies who were in the bourbon. And I was like, oh man, you tried Evan Williams Bottled in Bond. It's a white label. I'm like, oh, like it's a $25 bottle. I'm like, no. And I would say, I went and grabbed that. And, he's like, try it neat. Try it on ice. And I would say Evan Williams Bottled in Bond would be the bottle that kind of introduced me to get into bourbon. Even though it's a cheap bottle, I can go to it and I enjoy it. And I initially, and then when you start And that was just later on in the journey. But initially, the Evan Williams bottled and bonds kind of suckered me in. But now that I've improved my palate, improved my wallet, and being able to purchase bottles more than $25, $30, it's changed. And then once I got going into it, and I didn't know Buffalo Trace did tours or sold. I just knew it was a distillery, right? And that's when one of my buddies like, oh, we can go down to the distillery, and they sell bottles. You just gotta get lucky. And I knew about blends. I knew about all their allocated stuff, right? Not all of it, like their VTAC, all that jazz. I was more like their lower end stuff that's available at stores. I love Buffalo Trace, but when I initially got to try E.H. Taylor small batch, that really put me into wanting to try more and more good quality bourbons. They're at that price, and it jumped me to go, I want to try stuff that's more expensive. And that's when I started watching TikTok. And when you start seeing people talking about all this stuff, and there's this, and this, I'm like, I want to try it. I don't see that, or then I'm seeing it and I can buy it. And then that's when it started, okay, I'm buying this bottle, I'm buying that bottle.
Mm-hmm. Dang, Braden, you like spoiled it for everybody. I think you already mentioned my bottle, so I want to change bottles.
That I would talk about is Weller Antique.
Okay.
I seen that screw cap.
Yeah, I think we're all about to go down one rabbit hole right now. I think we're all on that wavelength.
And this one is purely, I understand there are a couple of reasons I like this one. First of all, in the lineup of allocations that are very lower end allocations of Buffalo Trace, which is the big allocation daddy distillery. That's the distillery that has allocation, that put out 107. When I tried, I didn't have that 107. Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor small batch, as everybody talked about, and Weller Green was just how happy I was when I had more available. First time buying E.H. Taylor 2-box, and I listed at Total Wine. I was sad for 4 days. And it felt like if I had gone a second earlier, I could have had a bottle that I didn't know if I liked or not. I just wanted it because everybody was talking about it. Coming back to this, when I first time tried Weller Antique, I had no expectation to like it. And those are the bourbons and bottles that really I try to have as much or have a bottle of that. Because when it turns you, you have no expectation, you're just going in there, you try it at a buddy's place or at a bar and oh, whatever is in this glass, I love everything about it. And Weller Antique has been that steady for all the Weller in that lower end to medium allocation. And especially I'm spoiled right now because we're way deep down into this hole. I've had good Weller Antique picks and NCS and Screw Tops, which are a little better than the regular ones. But still, in the basic 107 that is now available at the distillery on some days, I think it's the best bottle that they make in that, for my palate, in that 4-5 bottle of allocation that's on rotation. Including E.H. Taylor small batch, I just love the proof point of it, the wheated part of it, and how mellow, nice, and soft and approachable, and how easy to drink it is for anyone.
I'm gonna switch it up now. I was gonna go on Taylor small batch. I was gonna go on that hype train, but I'm gonna switch it up because he brought up antique. Now I'm gonna go with Booker's because
that's how me and Matt met.
That's how we met, right? It was me trading a 107. He gave me a Booker's, and I have so many memories with bottles of Booker's. I was the only one that really drank bourbon. I was trying to push it on other people, the taste, but I'm pushing 120 something proof bourbon on newbies, bro. You know how that went. And by the end of our visit for Thanksgiving, I think it was 2 years ago, half the bottle was gone. That was all me, bro. I'm like, oh my God. And that was I believe it was a Springfield batch. It was a yellow label, and that just hit me. And then I had the Apprentice batch that everybody pooped on. Everybody said it was nasty. I loved it. Doesn't matter what bottle of Booker's it is. I loved it. So that's just what I gotta go with.
I'll go down the rabbit hole a little bit. So I had new Buffalo Trace put out barrel proof E.H. Taylor, and I love E.H. Taylor small batch. It's one of my favorite bottles. I had tried the single barrel, liked it. I was and I had it's a single barrel. You may love it, and I may love it. Max may hate it. It didn't hit. And I was like, man. I went to Evergreen in Louisville and tried batch 12. It it was kind of like one of the first higher proof like pours from Buffalo Trace that just like rocked my world. After I tried it, I was like, man, I have to get a bottle of this. I have to get a bottle of this. And, you know, I'm freaking out, texting Tushar. And I'm like, dude, I need to get a bottle of this. And he's like, oh, I'll tag you in something. He tags me in it. Like, I paid secondary for it. I overpaid for it. I was bugging the crap out of Tushar. Like, dude, I don't think this guy's going to sell it to me. Blah, blah, blah. And, like, it's funny because the bottle that I bought was originally Tushar's. Like, he traded it for something. And then this guy posted it for cash. And I was like, oh, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to buy it. Whatever. And that's kind of my second, like, after trying that, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, and Taylor Barrel Proof to me is like batch 13. I went through 2 bottles of it. Tushar helped me get my first one. Shout out Tushar. And then the second one, me and Braden camped out for way too long in the freezing cold. But the experience itself was absolutely awesome. I wouldn't change anything about it. That's my second bottle of batch 13, and then I'm on my second batch of 12. I just can't get enough of it. It's so good.
I think my number 2 bottle is going to be Blanton's straight from the barrel. Is going to be my number 2 to really get me going again. I've yet to have a bad one. I mean, I've only had a few. I'm a Tater fan. I'm a Buffalo Trace fan. Okay, guys. I think everybody knows that. I don't like everything Buffalo Trace. Like I like Blanton's. Not a lot of people like Blanton's. Everybody talks shit about Blanton's. Is it overpriced? Absolutely. Even at MSRP, still overpriced for me. I quit buying them. It just not only does a bottle draw me, the marketing on this bottle is phenomenal. Buffalo Trace does a fantastic job on their marketing. I mean, you're putting a damn horse with a letter on it and it spells Blanton's. It's funny to me. It's a collector's item, I guess. The horses, but the juice inside is also just as great. So yeah, that's gonna be my number 2. And it was a toss up between that and Stag Junior. Stag Junior to me, I love those bottles. I've had a few of them myself, and I'll get them probably every time I can at a good price. Yeah, secondary is ridiculous. Everybody knows me. I refuse to pay secondary. Not to bring secondary back up, but just like Max said, I'm pretty disciplined on how I buy my bottles. Now, if I want to, or it's a gift for somebody and I gotta pay a little extra, I'll do it because I want to make somebody happy. But for me personally, if I'm going to be drinking it, I am very strict, more closer to an MSRP guy. Me, that higher proof point, I'm a proof sucker. That proof point just sucks me in. Sometimes it's overkill.
Keep going. No, I agree. I think Buffalo Trace does that high proof stuff really well, even with the low MSRP products, man. High proof Buffalo Trace just does something.
When I think about Stag Junior, it's a $60 bottle, and you're pushing 130 proof. And now I've had more of those than I have of any straight from the barrels of Blanton's, but there's been a few batches of the Stags recently that just not up to par for me. I would still pay MSRP for it. Don't get me freaking wrong. It's still good, but you're right. They're doing crazy good with that cheaper barrel proof bourbon that they're putting out.
Mm-hmm.
This is my next bottle for this is completely strange because it technically not has a legal label on it, and there's a story to it. This is
I already know what it is.
Yeah, this is West Fork, which is based out, was first in downtown Indy, then they moved, they've got very big, and now they're up in Westview. They are local to Indiana in the metropolitan area, suburb. They're pretty huge here. They have a couple of lines where they do their own stuff. West Fork, this label is when they make their own stuff and they sell it, versus their Old Hammer and New Hammer are their MGP or source bourbons, which they do, which are very popular, especially in Indiana. A lot of people are big fans of that. Plus, who doesn't like a good MGP rye or bourbon, right? That's just easy. And the price point of that is hard to beat. I wasn't a fan of any of their source of product because, as I said, my palate was completely different than you guys. I was much later. My palate was more Scotch driven, so bourbon always felt a little harsher and more higher proof. So everything was just like, I like it, but that's too much. I can't drink too much of it. When they opened up in Westfield over here and they started doing tours, they still hadn't started distilling. They have these giant equipments, distillation column still, and they have these wash tanks and they have everything, but they're just doing tours. They're not doing anything. And you could do a barrel thieving tour, which we tried all of that, had a good time, and I was just talking to the tour guide a lot at that point because I might be the only person who was really into that whiskey in that manner. So we connected on that, talking about whiskey, and we talked about the Scotch. And after the tour had ended, we came back to buy some of the bottles that were available. Not from whatever it was that we tasted, something that they already put out for distillery exclusive releases. When I was buying it, our tour guide came over and he said, hey, do you want to buy that last barrel of rye that you tried? Like, sure. I'm like, okay. And I was there with my wife and another friend was like, what are you talking about? It's not even there. Maybe they have bottles in the back of that barrel. I don't know. He literally took up this bottle which says 90 proof. If you guys see it somewhere. And the label is also not correct. It's called Rye Whiskey Smoky Batch Gone Forward. The one that we tried was the high rye, just gone forward, one single barrel that was kind of like out of the normal batch program. And we liked it so much that he bottled it from that barrel for us. It wasn't like twisted, anything wasn't sealed or anything. It's like, as long as you're okay with it, I'm like, sure. So that's why I picked this bottle, because it had a story too.
All right. Jumping off of Tashar's thing with Westford, I had to. I even pulled it while he was talking. It was like a no-brainer. Because when I think about memories, when I think about events, when I think about bringing my wife along against her will, it has to be Westford. Because they come out with things like this. I don't know if you guys remember the Eclipse bottle. During the solar eclipse, they had a whole release. They made it. I went to that, got this bottle, was happy to get something that, like, I guess you could only get one day. They did the honey finish, that spicy honey thing, the first finish. It was super limited. Went and got that. They had a Bloody Butcher thing, super limited. You had to get their like first 10 in line. Got that. And then that just got my craze with the whole events, something allocated. Even though it was Westford, I didn't really care in my mind. It was just an event tied to bourbon. Go there with the wife, get an extra bottle, open one, not feel bad about it, type of thing in my head. So I have to go with Westford too.
Okay, real quick on that. Have you tried that bottle?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it good? Like I've heard about it and I've heard you talk about it, but I've never heard like an honest opinion about it.
It's good.
Fans, brother.
No, it's good for craft whiskey. That's 91 proof. There's nothing to complain about, and trust me. If there's bad notes in craft whiskey, bro, I'll be vocal about it. This is a good bottle.
Awesome. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Bear Wallow did kind of the same thing. They had like
Yeah, I wanted that. I wanted that Bear Wallow, but I didn't pay that much attention when it dropped and it went very quickly.
But that's just really cool how they can do that.
Yeah.
Make a limited run, and like Max is saying, it makes it a very, very special bottle.
So I'm gonna go with a blend. So getting into like the whiskey game, bourbon game, whatever you want to call it. Anytime I thought of like a blend or I guess just a blend, like it immediately turned me away, and I don't know why. Like it just made me not want to buy it, not want to do it, whatever. And I was fortunate enough to get Bardstown Bourbon Company Disco 11. And dude, I am not kidding whenever I say this. I probably went through 6 bottles of it. The MSRP on it is very expensive, in my opinion. $140. But there's something about Disco 11 that makes me, like, it scratches my head, if that makes any sense. Like, it's so good. Like, this bottle has been, I don't want to say sentimental, but like almost sentimental to me, because like I genuinely don't think I've ever bought so many of one bottle. Like, honestly. And I haven't had Disco 13 I've had, the 12, the 11. The 9 is a total different, animal, in my opinion. Me and Max kind of went into that in a different video that you guys will see. But, dude, I don't know. There's just something about this 11 that it hits every literal crevice in my mind. It's phenomenal.
I really love Bardstown as just in general, because I think they're the ultimate if you know bourbons, because Johnny, I praise Disco 9 so much that Johnny went and bought one, and then he bought one, and even though it was weird, he loved it, right? Disco 11 came out with the reviews that blew it up, right? People bought it. I would say the majority loved it. But Disco 8 and Disco 7, that stuff is you have to be in the bourbon scene pretty heavy to know about these things, right? It's one of those, but they make some really, really, really good stuff.
I can agree with that. But I also think another good distiller, and this ain't even my third bottle, because it's my turn. Let's get with it. Old Forester puts out, I've yet to have a bad Old Forester. Okay, there has not been one bad Old Forester I've had. The 117 series has hit every single time for me.
Let them cook.
Rum finish, straight Skittles.
Let them cook.
Let him cook.
For future reference, don't ever talk crap about Penelope.
Not bad.
Penelope is my third bottle. Penelope is my third bottle, boys. Everybody knows that I'm a Penelope fan, all right? Now, I'm not saying I like every Penelope. But when I first got into Penelope, it was hard to find in Indiana. I was seeing people down in Kentucky find it's MGP, right? Owned by Luxco. There was no sources coming to Indiana, so you see people talking about it, you see people trying it, and you're like, damn, I want to try this Penelope stuff. And lo and behold, I started seeing the 4 grain, that white label, their bottom line. That was one of the first Penelopes I ever picked up. Was I disappointed? Yeah, I was. I was disappointed. It's young. It didn't fit my profile. It didn't fit my palate. Nothing. And then are growing out more product. Now, to an extent, I think Penelope or whomever is doing it, I think Penelope's putting too many different products out there. But I get it. They're on a roll. Let's fucking roll with it, right? But that's when I started getting into Architect, the normal Architect, which there's different batches. It floats around 110 proof. I like it. I hear a lot of people not talking about Architect like it's good. I mean, I think it's a well-balanced bourbon for me. And then I started experiencing store picks of it. Then I started, you start experiencing their creme brulee. You start experiencing, and they're building off one bottle of multiple ways, which intrigues me, because what are they doing to differ? I don't know. But you put something that says marshmallow toast or creme brulee on the bottle, doesn't that make you think oh damn, it's great marketing? Like I said, just like Blanton's. But when you can pick, for me personally, I know Max is not a fan of Penelope. Duchar is not a fan of Penelope. I get that, but there's bottles that you do like with Penelope, right? I wish some of those better age statements out there of Penelope were more available for everybody. Don't get me wrong, because we agree with every distillery possible that we all want a 15-year-old bourbon or a 13-year-old bourbon for everybody who likes bourbon. But for Penelope, I started getting into their barrel strength, their red label. That one really set me off with Penelope. It's on their base line. You got your yellow, or you got your white, you got your red, and you got your blue, right? You got your white 4 grain, you got your blue Architect, you got your red, the barrel strength. Those are the pretty basic lineup that you can see at the stores. Now, they've released the weeded, and for me, for a $30 bottle.
What the fuck?
Yeah, thumbs up. Sure, thumbs up. Yeah, even AI is agreeing with me, right? For a weeded at a $30 bottle, it's hard to compete with Weller. I can agree with that. Weller puts out great. It's a weeded bourbon. They put out great freaking product. But for Penelope to come in and throw a weeded in their lineup, and people are flaunting, or people like it. And when you can have a $30 bottle to compete with the special reserve Weller, it's fun for Penelope. I get that. You got to get in the market, but it's not bad juice. It's not for everybody. Weller's not for everybody. Old Fitz ain't for everybody, right? But it's out there and they're competing. And then they're releasing Valencia, they're releasing Rio. You're talking Amberana finish, you're talking Toki finish, you're talking all these different finishes that Penelope is getting into. And it just intrigues people to try every single product. And yes, you have to chase half of them, right? Like, I don't have the big estate collection. I don't have the 13 or the Lot E. They're really high stuff, but I've tried it. Yes, thanks Tushar, thanks Max, and I love them. They're phenomenal, and I think Penelope. Obviously, people are Penelope fans. There's a lot of people out there, but for me, we're going to the third bottle. That barrel strength Penelope, that red label, hits for me, and that really started to make me. I mean, obviously, Penelope took me over.
This because I know Johnny wants to go to the bullshit mode and start acting crunk.
Make that shit,
Wrap it all
make that
up with what our plans are for this channel. We want to see in terms of, let's say, 6 months from now, what we want to put out. But me personally, I couldn't care if we get any views. It'd be cool if we do. I just want to save these memories because I think talking to you guys, drinking is like the best part of sometimes the week. You know, it can be fun, the funny stuff that's said, and just being able to capture that and, I don't know, just put it on replay in the background, you know, and just hear something again and brings back memories. I find a lot of fun in what we're doing, but I'm kind of curious to see what you guys want to see from this channel moving forward.
Well, I'll start off. You know, I agree with you, Max. I think we sit here and make these videos now, and here in a year we go back and like, oh, I thought about that, I said that, and then it could change. It could change drastically, right? We all four have different personalities, by far. Okay, we can't all agree on everything, and we're also not going to disagree on everything either. But we are going to disagree on a lot of things. But here we're talking bourbon, we're talking whiskey, we're talking everything fun for us, and we're having a good time doing it. I think in the future I want to see us. I love how we do our blinds. That makes me have a good time. And I get this. I like how we're talking. We're introducing ourselves. We're doing all this stuff. But when we do our blinds, we really get to get like our minds start. It's like a mouse on a wheel. It's spinning. And we're sitting there thinking, and Johnny's saying something about this that we're drinking. Tushar, Max, we're all saying different things, and then we kind of secretly, I mean, we all kind of try to trick each other, right? But the one person who knows what we're drinking knows, and that person starts smiling because they know, and it turns into a game. I love that aspect that we're just having a good time. But at some point, we're going to have more not strict blinds, but more where we're doing blinds that I don't want to call them blinds, but we get together and we know what we're all having, and not blind them, but put them in a lineup, knowing what we have, and really put them in order what we like to favorite to least. I think that would be also a great. It's a game, but we know what they are.
Yeah.
Like if we could release that every couple months versus, you know, we do monthly just regular blinds, which is, like I said, it's a hell of a time. We have a hell of a good time. We laugh and bullshit. But I don't know. People are going to learn about us in the bourbon world pretty quick. I think we all, like I said, we all have great personalities. We have entertaining personalities. So it's hard to switch off our channel. I think it's going to be hard because today we're pretty serious, right? We're being pretty blunt about everything, and we're kind of but when you get into those videos that are just fucking, let's get it, we're having a good time, we're rolling with it, that's where it's gonna be hard for people to switch us off.
I think, like you said, Brayden, there's like 4 different personalities that they clash. Like, I don't care what anyone says, dude, they clash. And dude, our blinds they're top tier. I would genuinely put our like 4 blinds, like 4 bottles, whatever, like whatever, however you want to do it. Like those videos are, that's the bread and butter, in my opinion. Because, like Kuchar says, let's get on here and shit talk. The shit talking is what is gonna drive this.
I really think like I know the name, you know, TFDD whiskey, whatever, the 4 drunk doppelgangers, it was made up like on the fly. But when you think about it, like not only like visually, but like our personalities are so completely different. It is insane. Our whiskey journey is completely different. We got Scotchman over here. We got Mr. Ain't Gonna Buy No Damn, you know, secondary here. We got, you know, and it's just everybody's different. Everybody. And I love it. And I'm telling you, these blinds are going to be fun.
Yeah. That's what they say, opposites attract, right?
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Doing this it's fun. Like, like you said, Max, like, in which I'm not throwing shade, I'm not doing any of that. On the TikTok side of things, like, there's a lot of the older, like, old heads, as I would call them, like, respectfully, that just, like, bro, they drive that shit. And, like, you get some young guys in here, it's gonna stir the pot. And, like you said, dude, Double B has always been, like, the, like, I don't want to say, like, the outcast, but, like, honestly, the outcast.
The most hated TikTok out there.
Me and Braden are the most hated TikToker, like, creators in the thing. And I'll use my French, but you can't dick ride every single bottle in every single company. I've been kind of burned.
We're all gonna say things we like and dislike about bottles and like and dislike about distilleries, which is what people need to hear. But in a case, it's not always the case for everybody, right? Like I like Buffalo Trace and say Max don't. Like he likes some. I'm just saying in general, not Max. So I'm not saying the way it is. But people, I think having 4 different aspects of it, of an idea or a certain distillery, is better in a way. Like, especially the knowledge that Max and Tushar has, and Johnny has great knowledge too about distilleries and the mash bills and all that shit. I am not the biggest. To be honest with you, it's the juice is about me. Like if I open a bottle and the juice ain't for me, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna say ass, but let me tell you, I'm not saying ass, right? Like Tushar said, I agree with you, Tushar, 100%. Nothing's ass unless 100% of people agree, right?
Or,
but I will say ass, but I will still drink that bottle, right? We are. It's like when you compare things, right? That's just a general term that I think people use as they're not a fan.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, it's just like language evolved to where if I say this shit's ass, that's me saying it didn't live up to my standards and my expectations. Maybe I should clarify that, but in the heat of the moment, there's a good chance I won't clarify that. So,
right. No, I agree to all of that. And I think for this channel or what we're talking, whatever you guys said, 100% on board with that. I think the most real thing that we can present to anybody who's listening to us would be the way we talk in our blinds or feature. Even in this video, we are maybe a little more serious, but what we're saying is it's not dishonest. This is what we think about what we have and what we try. There's nothing that we gain from this. There's nothing that there's a second agenda. All 4 of us could any point be like, okay, we're done and we can close this. We're all busy with our own lives. We have their own journeys of whiskey and personal lives. But my biggest thing that I would like this thing that we're doing is whenever anybody listens to our channel, I feel like they should at least agree with one person's take and understand that this channel is not trying to save somebody, but also not trying to be overly nice to anybody in terms of distillery, in terms of product. Everything we say has our own experience attached to it. And I feel the way the bourbon world is turning, and it has already started like a couple of years ago, but as consumers, we are seeing that right now, that a lot of people who were really just promoting content that was just more flashy and available without the real thing, people will stop liking that because flashy attracts. It attracted me a lot from TikTok to any other content, and that's nothing wrong with that. Not saying anybody who's doing it is not there. It's just that's something that maybe in the future people will not like to listen a lot because everybody's saying the same thing about the same way they get the nose, the same way they got the bottle, same way they got the palette. Secondary is this. Nobody's saying how content creators are getting those bottles the first time. Some people are, most of them are not, and this just creates a lot of chaos and confusion, which a lot of people try to take advantage of. And I hope that we are not those folks that take advantage of that chaos. I don't want to put out a distillery just because I love it so much, and then nobody else can get that bottle without telling them that you can't get that bottle or why I like it, and then get some benefit out of it. So as long as we put that in there, and I would be extremely happy if after 6 months or a year, we are the background channel. And by background channel, I mean that you can put us on for half an hour and forget about it. And in the middle, when you tune in again, like a really good movie, every time you tune in again, you pitch back, oh yeah, that's that guy. Oh yeah, Tushar will say that. Or Braden, oh that's Braden's joke. Or that's Johnny's palette. Or that's Max's mustache. I don't know. But you connect to that. I feel like if we can get there, however time it takes to just connect to that in the background. You don't have to listen to us. We're all talking bullshit. We don't know what we're talking about. We're just people who drink bourbon. How would we know? But if you like the talk, and if you connect with the way we say things that you might hear somewhere else, and you like our channel, that's my hope for this.
I think, like for our videos, and like I said, I agree with Tushar. Like if we get 2 viewers, whatever, right? But if there is somebody who's in here following just for me, just for Max, just for Tushar, just for Johnny, and they're on that journey just like us, and they can agree that, okay, I bought this bottle, and we both agree, and then later on, I'm buying a bottle that they're questionable on, right? And I'm like, I don't know, I can't spend that much because, I spend it, but we know, I'm not just talking 1 or 2 bottles, I'm saying our journey, they all kind of agreed on my palate. So they're going to go out, and I'm going to favor this one because Braden said that, we all agreed on the same palette, and he's saying this is good too, but it sits out of my price range, and it asks him to pick that bottle up. Just for instance, just for you, for Max or Tushar, if we start getting into scotches for people, for Tushar, it helps everybody in a community that we're trying to associate with to help people continue their journey with whiskey.
Or to tie up whatever all of us said is like a neat bow, is after listening to us for some time, and if you like our thing that we're doing out, if you ever get where you have 3 friends like I have in bourbon, I think this channel has achieved the goal. If you can get those 3 friends, I will be happy that you watched them. That would be the goal of this channel. Every person who's watching it has 3 friends that they can get on a call and talk about bourbon without getting too weird about it. Whatever we have, doesn't matter what you're drinking, doesn't matter what the pour is. We can just talk shit with your friends, and you're comfortable with them enough to talk shit. Yep. That's my closing for this one. Let's get there.
All right. Thanks for watching TFDD Whiskey. Till next time.
Till next time, guys. Thank you.